Hi, my name is Nathan Clark.
And my name's Jamie Clark. And you may know our team from...
Go to NathanClarkTeam.com and get top dollar for your home.
We've been one of the top real estate brokerages in Rhode Island for the past 11 years now.
And it's been about 20 years we've been selling real estate, but real estate's not our only passion. If you're looking for information about the technical side of real estate, this probably is not the podcast for you.
But we will be talking a little bit about real estate.
But if you're interested in entrepreneurship, building businesses, marketing ideas, this is the podcast for you. Hey, it's Nathan Clark and Jamie Clark, and we're excited. We're with you guys today. We're shooting our first podcast, and this has been a long time coming. Very excited.
Oh, yeah. First official one.
Yes. And Jamie, I know one of the things we wanted to start with was probably like the biggest question that you and I get is how do we get into real estate?
Right.
And I get asked that question a lot, and I know you do too.
Right.
And I think it really kind of starts before real estate for me. So I figured being the first podcast that we do, what's a better way than to start off and get the most common question I get is like, how'd you get to real estate? So
from the beginning.
From the beginning, started in 1983.
Right.
So how I got into real estate, I think it's one of those things is I always laugh. And when I was growing up, my father did this before me, and I was always like, never going to do real estate, right? Because I would always see the long hours worked. And not that I was afraid of working, but I never wanted to be tied down that I couldn't be able to chase my things that I wanted to do. I had a lot of sports that I like to play, a lot of activities I like to be able to do, and I never wanted to be like, what'd you do your whole life? Oh, for 7 days a week I worked and then died. So
congratulations, because you're doing it.
Yes, so thank you. So one of the biggest things is being able to be actually do that, and so really shied away from real estate because I saw my father work so hard in real estate, 7 days a week, 80 hours a week, forever. And that's what really got me into real estate. So what happened, though, was really the story of doing so many jobs before real estate.
Well, he told you to go get experience before you just jump in.
Well, even before that. I mean, I was always hard working. I mean, I started working, I was 11 years old, the first job. I was about 12, 13 when I was inside a business, but at 11, we would do the typical mowing people's lawns, shoveling snow, stuff like that.
You don't see that often anymore.
Not anymore, but we did it back in the day because that was the only way you could make money, and it was like $20 a day. But then you'd, wash dishes. But, so I wasn't afraid to work, but it was doing jobs. I was an auto mechanic for a while. That was a fun job. Actually, it's kind of funny. Life goes around full circle. The building we're in right now, right next door to us here, was the first building I had a job as a mechanic.
Oh, yeah.
And I look out my window every day. I'm like, yep, that was where I used to work, right next door.
Well, almost full circle.
So I did that for a while. I worked at the Province Journal for a while. I was a flyboy.
With David.
Yeah, and I did that. That was a great time. My friend David got me the job, and then they laid me off, and I got a job on a cruise ship. And that was really where I decided I wanted to get into real estate. Being able to get out there and maybe sow your wild oats a little bit. I was able to see the opportunity that I had to be able to learn from my father, learn the business. And that's where I came back and said, hey, Dad, I want to get into real estate. And that's where I started. I was about 19 years old. And my father told me, no, you can't get into real estate. You need to learn sales.
And you love being told no.
He didn't say no. He said, you need to learn sales. You need to learn some rejection. So what's a better way to do that than go sell cars? And folks, if you want to learn how to be rejected, I recommend you go sell cars. It was great advice my father gave me. And so I loved cars, so I was like, hell yeah, I'll go do that. I think I did that for about 6 months, and they fired me. My friend Bill, if he's ever watching this, fired me.
Why did you get fired?
I wasn't very good at it.
Who knew, huh?
So I did that, and then I got my real estate license, and that's my career, how I got started in real estate. I was about 20 years old. I couldn't buy a beer, but I could sell a house. And I started off doing that, and voila. 18 years later, I am still doing it. And I remember when I started doing real estate, because you're going to realize I had like 8 other jobs probably before that. Everybody's like, well, this is just a fad.
Right.
This isn't going to last.
Yeah.
I remember them telling me. But how about you? How'd you get into it?
Well, it's funny. I never saw myself in real estate. If you were to tell me where I was going to be where I am today, I would have laughed in your face. But basically almost it kind of mirrors you. I had a couple of jobs beforehand. I started out babysitting. I also was a dishwasher. And then I moved on through various jobs, Worked at, pizza joint, Kuzo's Pizza with Joe and Danny. They're the best. I love them. I did bartending, and I was an apprentice for glass blowing. So a lot of different jobs. Finally was when we got married. I worked at AAA, and I was the person that you'd call when you needed a flat tire or a battery or whatever. And it wasn't for me.
I remember that job.
The hours were awful.
Hours were terrible.
Yeah. I had to
you know the biggest problem with that job was?
What?
Like you could never call out
That's
when
right.
your car would break down.
And actually my car did ice over, and they said, no worries, we'll be right out. We'll de-ice your car. So I said, oh, shucks. But yeah, so there I was. I was young when I met you. I was probably 18, met you briefly.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that's when you left for the cruise. And then when you came back, we met again. We were friends. Then we dated. Then we got married. And when I was working at AAA, I decided, why don't we work together? Because you were starting to get up and trying to juggle everything on your own. And so I stepped in and helped. And that kind of brings us into our next story about what our younger career was like when we worked. We worked for the major corporation, nationwide known.
Oh, yeah. So, early in the career, we were trying to do it all on our own. You kind of touch base on that, and that's kind of where it brought you on, with it. And that's where we started building the team.
Yeah.
People don't realize it now. I was talking to somebody, one of my team members, agents that work with us, and I was trying to explain to him is like, I think my first year I was pretty successful. I sold 27 houses myself. But people have to realize, like, almost 20 years ago when I started, real estate was nowhere near like it was today.
It was totally different.
Right. Like you had to physically print out documents 4 times and have everybody sign them and then drive them to people's houses, have them sign, and then drive them to another house, have them sign, and then drive them to an agent every time you sold a house.
And what about when you bought fax machines so it would be easier for your clients to get paperwork?
Fax machines. So,
yeah, but even back then, innovative.
But why did we buy fax machines? Is because there was no email. Like people have it so easy now with technology where you could just be like, oh, you want to buy a house? Click, click. Okay, I just sent you the agreement. Sign here. Click, click. Yeah. Okay, they're signed. They're back, and everybody has them.
Well, not everybody had computers back then. Or
Nobody
printers.
had. No, internet was just not everybody had internet.
Let me go to the library.
And not everybody had email. So, anyways, the way to communicate is way easier now. Where we had to physically go and meet people, have things signed, drive all over the town. You'd physically pick houses for people to see. Nowadays. People find the houses themselves and they call you and say, hey, I want to go see this house at 123 Main Street. And you're like, okay, I'll go show it to you. And you pop up and you run out there and show them a house. Before, you actually would have to find people's houses, show them what you wanted to show them or what they wanted to see.
Or the big MLS book.
Yeah, MLS used to print out. That was before you even had the internet. So life's got a lot easier from them. But it was getting to the point of like, I was doing, I think, let's say 30, 35 transactions myself. And it was just too much. So we started building a team.
I remember I came in and I saw all these pamphlets. You were folding and hurrying and trying to get it all done. And at that point, we decided that you were going to take over, all the buyers and sellers and more of being the marketing guru.
Right. Well, I was still doing buyers, sellers, work with the buyers and
Listing
sellers.
Appointments, yep.
But I needed help with kind of like the setting the listings up.
Right, so I would go out, which is one of the reasons why I drive a pickup truck even to this day.
Yes.
You guys see me. Why does that little girl drive that big thing? Now it's more so for toys. But yeah, back in the day, we joined forces, me and Nathan. We decided, why would I go work for someone else when we could work together? So yeah, so I started setting up the for sale signs, taking pictures, smoke, carbon, water meter readings, all of that good stuff. And then, eventually grew into doing the listing and closing coordinating. At the time, I believe it was for you. We had Chip on the team, Lori. We had probably 4 or 5 people I was doing closings for. And I think you were at that time, breaching 50.
Wow, you just fast forwarded like 7 years there, but yes.
Well, I mean, a lot did happen. But so anyway, we were always in a constant state of growth, which was, and I think it's safe to say that we still are, right?
Well, I believe with business, you're either growing or shrinking. There's no staying the same.
Right, stasis.
The stasis idea is your competition is going to come and eat you up. So,
right.
But, I would say really what we focused on that made us different was really the marketing.
Yeah.
Was really putting the focus into the marketing.
Yeah.
And the more I could focus on marketing and rainmaking is the best way to say it, the better we did as a company year after year. The more I'd actually step out of the physical side of being out there and slinging signs, taking pictures of houses, showing houses, to the point right now is I don't do any of that.
Right.
That I'm the broker of the company, but that's pretty much my last title of operating it, where really what I focus on is the marketing, and you know how much I love that.
Oh yeah.
And you love it also.
Yeah.
Is being able to attract business. And that's why we love doing this podcast so much, is because in any business, the 6 steps of business, step 1, okay, is you got to be able to attract business. And I think this is the biggest thing that most businesses miss.
Well, I think also in any business, you can be successful if you just do what's right. You just do what's right.
Yeah. I think that's just a given.
Right.
No, I really do. I mean, most people don't come up to work and they're like, hey, how can I do bad today?
Right.
You're not going to be in business more than a year.
Right.
Like, how can I hurt people or screw people or something like that? So I don't buy that. I think everybody, and to be honest with you, though, people really do think that way about marketing. They just think that, hey, I'm hardworking, I'm ethical, I do what's best for these people, and people are just going to seek me out and do business with me. That's a bunch of baloney.
All right, because you need something to set yourself up above everyone else.
Exactly.
Right.
So, but everybody thinks the same way. It's like, I don't understand. I do such a good job. I bake the cake better than anybody else.
Right, but you need to constantly be sharpening your tools and staying ahead of the game, or else, like you said, you'll become stasis, and then there you are, dead in the water.
Attracting people.
Right.
So that's what I say. Number 1 rule of business is you got to attract people.
Right.
Or you got to attract people to your door. So you can sit there and if that's your message, in real estate, I would say real estate agents are the second worst marketers out there. The first worst marketers out there are attorneys.
Okay, so that brings us into our next point of some of the fun things that we've done in the past with marketing. And for me, some of them we don't use anymore, but they were just really fun, trying to figure out what people would open and what would spark people's interest. So that brings
3D
to mind,
mail.
Right, 3D mail. So it brings to mind here for me, at one point we sold worry dolls. Hey, I'm worried about you and you not being able to sell your home. And we'd send them little baby dolls. And then,
all right. So you got to back it up for people watch this. What do you mean you sell worry dolls?
No, we wouldn't sell worry dolls. Sorry, we'd send them out in the mail and try to prompt people to open the mail. And then when they'd open it, there'd be a little worry doll.
Right. So people's houses were expire.
Right.
And we would send them they call it lump mail or 3D mail.
Yeah, lumpy mail, right?
Lumpy mail.
And so it was like, what can I do to make it so that no matter what, when this piece of mail gets to someone's house, they have to open it, almost like a little kid, like what's inside?
Yeah.
Like, let me see what's in here. I remember we did pill bottles, but that did not last long.
Pill bottles.
We did pill bottles, but then they worried about the white powder. We didn't.
This is during the white powder of what was the fear that the media was pushing at that time? That was anthrax. Yes,
right.
the anthrax
So
that would come up there.
Stop that.
Yes,
right
anthrax.
away.
That was about 2008 anthrax, I think.
Yeah.
2010. They don't send white powder in the mail anymore.
And then I know that we sent a whoopee cushion out, and our son thinks it's hysterical because we still have some left over in our attic here. But yep, so we try, just like I said, marketing was great, and then you had your own.
Yeah, we've done
interesting things.
We still do a lot of crazy marketing things. We see what works with it.
I love it.
The paper bag has always been a good one.
Oh yeah.
Crazy quick story of that paper bag one. So we'll do anything to try to get people's attention, right? Is try to be different, right? In marketing, you want to try to be different. If anybody's listening and you're starting marketing, you sound really just be different. If I see one more agent have an ad out there that says, "Would you like a market evaluation of your house?"
Right.
Free market evaluation.
You got to think about your product and your marketing is going to be on the same table as other people, and what's going to make yours stick out.
If you just say, "Hey, I'm a realtor," that's not really going to make you stand out.
But that goes for any business. Right.
So the same thing happens with the mail. So we send a mail out there. People get a lot of mail out there. So we used to put our mail inside a lunch bag.
Yeah.
Stick it in the lunch bag, seal it up, and set it out. So one time, we've been doing that for years. We sent it out, and a woman called in, and she didn't know if somebody put something inside the paper bag and mailed it to her. And her husband was on the bomb task force for that town or city that we sent it to.
Right.
And she called in, and she said she opened it outside away from her kids because she didn't know if it was going to blow up. The only thing I've ever seen was Adam Sandler's movie when they put something in the brown paper bag and lit it on fire and left it on your doorstep. But
yeah, that's not even close to what we do.
But what was great about it is she was upset, as you can see, when she called in saying, "I don't know if this is one of your competitors that are doing this to make you look bad or..."
But wait, you back it up. What did you just say? She called in,
She
right?
called in, yeah.
Exactly.
And we ended up selling her house. So it did work.
Yes.
Obviously, it didn't meet that, but it's some funny things that you'll get back get back doing things different.
Also, something that comes to mind is the classic billboard. Everybody loved it.
Oh, the Bill Clinton. No, was it the,
It
no, it
was
was Hillary
Hillary.
Clinton. Yeah. So we'll have to put up a link to it so you guys see. We'll put it on the video.
So check this out.
And this was a video. This was a billboard that we put up. This was during 2016. This was Hillary Clinton was running and Donald Trump. I don't know if you guys have heard of those two people.
Right.
And everybody was going nuts, and they were.
I thought it was a joke.
And they were threatening to move out of the country. So I put up a billboard, and it got national attention, just not from us.
So it was Hillary versus Donald Trump.
And it said, no, it said, "Are you moving out of the country?" And then it had a picture of moving. No, it said moving to Canada, and had a picture of Hillary, and had a picture of Donald Trump moving to Canada. Give us a call. We can help.
Yeah.
And then it was our, obviously, phone number and website right there.
Right.
And my friend took that in South Carolina. I put it up this week. The next week he took it and he put it up, and he was all over Fox News. He put it up all over South Carolina, and it made national news. I only put it up on 2 billboards. And so I learned from that is go big or go home.
Right.
But he got all over Fox News for it. And, we got some hate calls on it. We didn't say whose side we were on.
Well.
But just putting those people up there made enough people angry that they had to call in and give us their 2 cents of what they think of Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump.
Well, normally when you make a splash, there's ripples, right?
Yeah.
So you're always going to have a ripple effect. If that's not happening, then you're not doing it.
Well,
right,
if you want to be liked by everybody, go sell ice cream.
So I wanted to move into our next segment and talk about something that we value here on our team, and something that we really, really strive to provide is second mile service. So Nathan, why don't you tell us just a little background about what that is, and then me and you can share some stories about some of our awesome teammates.
Well, yes, our core values is servitude.
Right.
We believe we're in the service industry. You should be really good at service. And one of our core values is second mile service.
Right.
It's actually our first core value, second mile service. So we believe in going an additional mile. And this comes really from a proverb from Jesus Christ in the Bible, where he talks about second mile service. And kind of the history, if you guys don't know what second mile service is, or going the second mile, really that comes from 2,000 years ago when the Jews and the Romans were occupying the same area together. The Romans made a rule that if a soldier's walking by, they could take a Jew and tell the Jew they have to carry his armor a mile.
Right.
And they'd have to carry it for that mile. And the Jews obviously didn't like that, and so they came to Jesus and said, "Jesus, what do we do with this?" And Jesus replied to him, and he said, "If one person makes you go a mile, go a second mile." And they obviously didn't like that response, but it really astonished them because they thought he was going to say something different. But it was really against, I guess, our human nature, that to go that second mile. And I think a lot of businesses nowadays just want to go the 1 mile.
See what they can get away with without.
And service is one of those things I think has gotten so much better in the last 20, 30 years with businesses. But I think it's really striving, instead of just making the people satisfied and going that 1 mile, is going above and beyond. And,
Right.
and we really have that tattooed into our core values here on the team because it's so important.
Right.
Even our company that we're with, Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, that is...
All about serve big.
It's all about serving big and giving back.
Right.
And I know you have lots of stories, and you probably share a couple from our team.
Yeah, of course. It's just one that really touched us, and it was done without us knowing, and we found out afterwards, is our client care coordinator here, Leanne. She was talking to a potential client, and it was around Christmas time. COVID is very difficult. People were furloughed. People lost their jobs. They were laid off. So it was a difficult time, and I believe that person had, multiple children, about 3 children or so, and without that person knowing, Leanne had gone out and gotten Christmas presents, a little something for each one of the children, and wrapped it up. She bought it with her own hard money that she worked for, and went and dropped it off at their house, and that's second mile service. And that's absolutely fantastic. And she did it without telling anybody, wasn't boasting about it. But of course, once we found out, we, were filled with joy, and we went ahead and gave her a second mile service award here because she deserved it. People that take that step deserve that recognition.
Yeah. I think people remember too when you do things like that.
Right.
And that's why we reward around it. That's why we have positions on the team. Look, we have 45 people on the team altogether.
Yeah.
We have just as many people like our customer care department to be able to make sure that we have good customer care for them because we believe so heavily on it.
Yeah, you know one about one of our agents, actually, Aaron.
Aaron did most agents, they kind of disappear after the sale. They get the commission check, they're done. But I remember this story, Aaron, the buyer bought the property and the buyer wasn't familiar with the type of boiler that they had there, had to get it, serviced. And I think they put too much water in the system, not understanding how it worked. And with steam systems, you put too much water in, they'll start overflowing.
Right, and they're brand new buyers.
Right, this is their first time with it.
Right.
So Aaron hired a plumber out of his own pocket, went by and had the plumber kind of show the home buyer how to work it. Even the home inspector should have done that, I think. But it was really above and beyond.
But yeah, I remember he kept calm because rightfully so. The client was upset and kind of, they didn't know what to do. They're just moving into this home. And Aaron just said, hey, you know what? Listen, I got it. I'll take care of it for you. And I think there's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
And that's the people that we really try to attract on our team is people that are going to, play for the right reasons.
Right. Well, I think this is a great segue to kind of talk about Hasbro's Children's Hospital.
Ooh, my favorite.
Yes. So we're going to kind of talk about that. And we're going to break down. We got Carly coming on the show from Hasbro's Children's Hospital. So she's going to do a great job be able to go over that. So we look forward to having her on. And, we'll get right to it.
We can find out what we can do to give back for them.
So, Jamie, we were talking about second mile service.
Yes.
And I want to welcome to the show Carly Blossom. Thank you for coming on today.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Yeah.
So Carly is joining us. She's the Director of Development at Hasbro's Children's Hospital. We've known you for quite a while here.
Yes.
You're our charity of choice is Hasbro's Children's Hospital. We've been working with Hasbro since about 2011. And we wanted to bring you on and kind of so you could talk about Hasbro, what you do there, and a lot of questions that we get from viewers and things like that.
Awesome.
But before we get started, Jamie, do you remember in 2011 we started working with Hasbro?
Yes.
But why did we choose Hasbro's Children's Hospital as our charity of choice?
Well, I remember we started really picking up some steam with the business, and we decided that we really wanted to give back. There's more that we could do, right? And so I do specifically remember you asking, hey, what charity should we go to? And we both talked about it, and we decided on Hasbro. Hasbro is kind of very near and dear to me from when I was younger. When my parents adopted me, I had some issues with my heart. I had 4 holes in my heart. And the doctors had said if I had grown to full age of 18, if without any surgery, that I probably wouldn't make it. So that being said, when I was younger, I believe I was in 1st grade, and my parents took me to Boston to get the procedure done. And I want to say, I call it the umbrella device, but I know there's a specific name for it, and I was one of the first people that had gotten it. So long story short, I had the procedure. I'm fine now. I'm grown and living life to the fullest. But every year I had to go back to Hasbro, and I went till I was about 12. And just there was nothing scary about it. Everybody was so friendly and welcoming, and it's just something to a little person, a little child, that can be very intimidating, And I just have nothing but great things to say about Hasbro. So.
I remember the first time that we were able to go there. I remember that conversation with you, but I also remember the first time we were able to go to Hasbro Children's Hospital, kind of do a tour, and we were able to meet you guys and meet you.
Yes.
It's been 10 years now.
I know, I can't believe it.
While we were talking, I was thinking, wow, 10 years, 2021.
Right.
Kids
and all sorts of things later, right?
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just amazed at, obviously it's a hospital. Obviously, people don't like to go to the hospital.
Correct.
But when you go to a hospital, the amount of caring that is done to think about the things that we wouldn't think about unless you've had to bring a child there.
Yes.
The things that have taken care of that people have thought about. It really humbles you, and it really makes you think, wow, first of all, we're blessed not to be healthy.
Yes, luckily.
But we're also blessed to have a children's hospital in our
Absolutely.
backyard. Us Rhode Islanders,
Yes.
15 minutes is a long drive, but not every, and I found this out too, just from being involved with Hasbro, not every state has a children's hospital.
Right. Well, that's why I had to go to Boston when I was younger. So.
Right.
Yes.
And your story, Jamie, is very heartwarming, and it is a great example of why Rhode Island Hospital and Hasbro Children's Hospital is so important to our community. Imagine having a 1st grader or a little baby or whatever age your child is that's dealing with a serious health issue, to have to drive into Boston, to have to battle with the traffic and all of those things that are unknown there. That just adds one layer of stress that doesn't need to be there. So by having Hasbro Children's Hospital here, and although open heart surgery is one of the things that we don't do here at Hasbro Children's Hospital, but almost everything else we can do here. But for you to be able to come back to our cardiac pediatric center here to have all your checkups and things like that, I would imagine probably just made your parents feel that much more comfortable and at home, not having to travel out of state. So we really are very lucky to have Hasbro Children's Hospital here in our backyard. 95% of the kids in the state of Rhode Island that are hospitalized annually come to Hasbro Children's Hospital. So it is a very busy place, and we do take care of the majority of the kids in the state.
And I know it's very important that it's not just about the child. You guys help the children and the family.
Yes.
And to find that is rare. And Nathan and I and our team have seen it a number of different times when we come to visit, and that's something that resonates throughout the whole hospital when you're going to see it. It's not just about the patients, but it's about the whole entire family, helping out everybody.
Absolutely. We call it family-centered care.
Yeah.
It's really about making sure that everybody's taken care of.
That's great.
So what does your job entail? I know we've met with you.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever asked you that, but so what is it, like a daily thing that you do at the job of being the director of development?
Like a day-to-day?
Great question. Great question. So development is another word for philanthropy or fundraising.
Okay.
And that is my job. I get to go and meet with folks in the community like yourselves that want to give back and support the hospital. And people do that in all different ways. Every dollar counts that we raise money for, but fundraising is very important to the hospital in allowing us to carry on all of the services that we provide, especially those kind of family-centered care services that wouldn't happen without philanthropy, because they're not things that are covered by insurance. So if they're not covered by insurance, we have to find the money somewhere. So by going out into the community and people that have had experiences there like yourself, or just understand the importance of giving back, I get to work with those folks. So I kind of feel like I have one of the best jobs in the world, which is awesome. Yeah.
And
you do a great job.
How you guys operate, I want to correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like the margin is less than 1%. So you have to really make every penny count.
So let me ask you this. So that's a great question, JB. So how much of the hospital runs on philanthropy?
So with Hasbro Children's Hospital, there are many services. There are many services that are covered by insurance, although there's a lot of people that are underinsured or not insured, and we don't ever turn anybody away. But there are many services that are supported through philanthropy, like our Child Life Services, our Healing Arts program, our Connect to Health program, that are not covered by insurance. So those are 100% covered by philanthropy.
And what do those services do? So
they make a children's hospital a children's hospital. I mean, when you are going into a medical setting, it can be scary for an adult. It can be really scary for a child. So, for example, child life specialist, there's actually a major that you can go to school and study how to be a child life specialist. They make the experience less scary for those child. So it's talking to the child, talking to the parents about what's going to happen in almost layman's terms. It's something as simple as playing a game with the child to distract them, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but
it is.
It really does make a difference. I know my daughter has gone in for a procedure before. She had to be put under anesthesia, and the child life specialist came in and she got to pick out her face mask that she had to wear. What did you want to have, pink or purple? It's just those little things that make it kind of a fun experience for the child, which sounds crazy, but we hear a time and again families and parents and kids say like, oh, the hospital's like my fun place to go to, and the doctors are my friends, and the nurses and the child life specialists are my friends, which is awesome.
It was crazy because I had gone back, I think it was for one of our first tours, and it was before the area had been updated, but it was still the same play area that I used to play in, and the same, like the clay tiles from all the different children.
Yes.
And something else that used to really clicked with me is I'd have to go and get an echocardiogram. So I'd have to not move, which was a struggle when you're little. And one of the things that really I remember is looking up at the ceiling, and they'd have painted ceiling tiles. So instead of like being scared and like, looking in at this cold hospital room, you have the ceiling tiles. It kind of makes you comfortable, and it is about all the little things. And I know, Nathan, we're contributing towards the healing arts, so that's the whole garden center that has been revamped. Want to tell us what how it's been completed, because it's been a while since we've seen it.
Absolutely. Well, unfortunately with COVID and then we had bad weather, we haven't had a chance to bring you all down yet, but we are really lucky, and thank you to the Nathan Clark team for contributing to support the Every Child Every Day campaign, which is a campaign that is wrapping up right now to support renovations to the entire hospital. The hospital was first built and opened in the mid-90s and has not really been updated since then. So through your contributions, we've been able to start renovations. And the big part that Nathan Clark team supported was our teaching garden, which is outside in our garden area. And that renovation is complete now. And now that the weather's warm, we'll have you guys come out and see it, because it's really beautiful.
And we're excited.
With the wisteria, I just remember that. It was so breathtaking with all the cascading flowers and everything.
Yes.
So
Let me ask you, how has COVID impacted a lot of things around the hospital? How has it made things different for the kids? I know, like, we went, was it before COVID last time? Or was it just starting to break out? I think the last visit that we did.
I think it was before.
Yeah, it was. Obviously it was right before, but I think it was starting to heat up. But like, I just wonder about like the school, the teaching. The children that are in there long term.
Yep.
Right.
Those are things that need to be covered. Right.
Yeah.
Is a teacher to come in, help them with their schoolwork and things like that. So how's the everyday schedule that used to be, and how's that been impacted with COVID, and how has the fundraising been going? Has it been going better, worse because of COVID?
Good questions. So, I think that we see a light at the end of the tunnel, which is really good news. But in terms of the caregivers, doctors, nurses, just staff that are working there, people are definitely worn out. And I think it's taken a toll on folks and kind of their mental health. So we've put things in place to really support all of our employees and caregivers to make sure that they have the tools and things that they need to be able to take care of the patients. I mean, in terms of COVID itself, luckily it doesn't seem like COVID has affected pediatric patients as much as it did with adult patients, which is great. But you do still have kind of that pressure from having COVID felt at the pediatric side. I mean, for a while we were having to limit the number of family members that could come in to visit and those type of things. Stressful. So it definitely has been something that's taken a toll on everyone.
Right.
But I do think that we're getting to the end of a very long road, which is good.
Amen. Yeah.
Yes.
I think we're all ready for this. I was just wondering too, because I know obviously with like our annual golf tournament that we do, that's been a great fundraiser.
Yeah.
We raised north of $25,000 from that, but we weren't able to do that. So you wonder how much more of the hospital needs people's help.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of really wonderful companies and individuals in the community that do things like golf tournaments and events to raise money for the hospital, which we're really very lucky to have that. It was definitely affected this past year. Very nicely, though, people really did come out to still support the hospital. So we have, we still have people donating, which is really nice. And again, every dollar counts.
Right.
But it is a new way. We have to look at, everybody has to reinvent themselves a little bit in COVID. So looking at new ways to do fundraising, because events was a big part of what a lot of people did to support the hospital.
And Jamie, you've been coming up with some great ideas for some fundraising for Hasbro.
Yeah, we're going to come up with a new idea this year, and we're not going to go with the golf tournament because we really want to make every penny count that we raise. And we found, while it's been fantastic and it's been a great avenue to raise a lot of money for Hasbro, we want to really get our return on investment and make it so there's more money for the kids. So as much of that money as possible gets to go to you guys. But yeah, we have some ideas coming up. Also, I know we have the Radiothon, which we all get so super excited about.
How much did the Radiothon raise last year?
It raised over $400,000.
Was that a record or?
It was not a record, but I'm very proud to say we were the very first all virtual Radiothon.
Awesome.
Which, again, with COVID, you guys have been there before. Usually we have like tons of people on the phones, and you guys were brave enough to come out and answer phones with your masks on. But a lot of people didn't feel comfortable doing that. Yeah. So we had to figure out ways to have to make that work still. And it was really still a wonderful fundraiser. Families got on phones and did Zoom calls with on-air personalities and
calling people
we
out.
made it work.
I thought we had to. I always have a great time. That's my favorite event that that we do with
Oh,
the
I love
guys.
the barbecues too, though, because you get to actually see
Barbecues
the
are
kids.
good. I can't wait to get back out there and see the garden.
I remember
we need to have
that
you out.
you were a little upset because he was taking a phone call. So he's like, grab my phone, grab my phone.
Yeah.
So I pick it up, and it was, someone calling in, and I wasn't expecting it, but she was very emotional. She said that her mother always donated to this and this cause, and it ended up being like $1,000 donation, which was like one of the biggest ones I've gotten. So I'm like freaking out with the bell, and he's like, that should have been mine.
That should have been your call.
Yeah, I said, I was on the phone with somebody else.
And I know I was haggling you to find out, like, because we're so competitive, and we all wanted to find out, like, well, how much money did we raise during our power hour? And I want to say it was something like $44,000. So, I mean, just to be part of that, and just the excitement and the cowbells.
Yes.
And the donuts is what do it for us.
Well, let's plug that. When is the next Radiothon? It's coming up.
Thursday, May 13th.
May 13th. So make sure everybody puts that in their calendar.
Mm-hmm.
May 13th. Thursday, May 13th. That runs all day. That's from like 6 in the morning to
6 a.m. to 6 p.m. with 92 Pro FM, Light Rock 105, WPRO 630, and Hot 106.
Right.
And what time is our slot?
Oh,
Remember?
we're going to do it. I remember.
Did you get us at the 6 a.m. slot again?
Well, I got our 9 a.m. power hour. So in order to do that, you need to do before and a little bit after till 10.
So it's 6 a.m. is what you're saying.
I'm not specific on the time, but the reason why I wanted to do it is every year, like, at the same time in the morning, I usually go and get my coffee from Dunkin' Donuts and da-da-da.
Kylie, she's not answering the question. It's
And
6 a.m.
so, well, I have to find out. We haven't had the details sent to us yet,
It's all right. I don't mind.
I used to hear this power hour, and I forget who the gentleman is that did it, but I want to say he was a lawyer, but he did that spot every year.
Yeah.
So I called in and I was like, well, how can we get that spot?
Yeah.
Like, how can we get the 9 a.m. Power hour? I want to do this. I really want to, I called up Nate and I'm so excited. We got to do this. So somehow, some way, I'm not sure if I talked to you or who we talked to, but he ended up, it happened to be the year that he stopped doing it. And so ever since, I'm like, we always need to get that power hour because it's awesome.
Good job.
Yeah, so.
Well, one of the
I
things
get psyched about it.
One of the things too is obviously any money we can raise for Hasbro Children's Hospital, and I think it's really important to why I like Hasbro Children's Hospital is just the case of the Radiothon.
Yeah.
You can give your money, and there's I know money's tight right now, and there's a lot of charities, a lot of people in need around the world that could use our help. But one of the things I love about Hasbro Children's Hospital the most is that they can take $1 that we give you guys and quadruple it, 10 times it, because they're really good at using the resources that are around them. Case in point, like the Radiothon. So even somebody that's viewing, I talk to people that I know from just work and play, and they're like, they think they have to call in and donate $1,000.
No.
Is, just giving 10, 20, 30 bucks
Right.
is a big deal, because that $20 you guys turn into $100.
Right. Well, and because we have corporate sponsors like the Nathan Clark team that come in and are willing to do matching gift challenges, when folks come in, you guys are willing to match their donation, which is awesome. And then it's just more that can go to helping the kids.
And so that's really what's great about, not every charity can do that. A lot of people know too, is a lot of charities that you give to, they take a big chunk of it just to gather that money. When they call up and they're like, I won't name anyone's, but like Fraternal Order of Insert here, a lot of people don't realize those are telemarketing companies that take 80 cents on the dollar, and they only give 20 cents to that donation right there. And what happens is that's obviously a big chunk that's not going to them. That's to making basically a for-profit company.
Right.
You guys take all the money. I think one of the biggest things when we were sitting on the governance board at Hasbro was finding out like the profit margin.
That was a huge
Was
surprise.
it like less than 1%?
Yeah.
And I think it was 0.08 or something like that percent of a profit that they're making. So you said this earlier, we don't just handle at Hasbro children that are local to Rhode Island.
Yes.
You handle all over Connecticut and Massachusetts.
Absolutely. Yes.
So that, and as you said earlier too, right, is that if they don't have insurance, you guys don't turn anybody away.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
And so that has a big impact on the bottom line.
Yeah, we have, when you think of a hospital, you don't always think of all the services that we have there. For example, we have a primary care office that treats over 10,000 children annually. Most of those are either on Medicaid. We have a lot of specialty clinics through that primary care office. So we have a foster care clinic. So that a foster child can have a continuum of care when they're going maybe from their bio parents to grandparents to a foster home. We have a refugee clinic for refugees coming into the United States for the first time to get all of their health care taken care of. So there's a lot of specialty clinics that we have down there. With I'm proud of this with with everything happening with COVID. We have a lot of families down there that might be going to get either food banks or SNAP or WIC and food help other places. But even that, because kids are home so much, wasn't enough to cover what families needed. So we were able to work with some local donors that were willing to donate some money. So now they actually have a small food bank, which probably isn't the right word for it, but they have food that they can give out to families when they come in for their primary care visit. So it really is about taking care of the entire family. And you know, if a parent's nervous about making sure that there's food on the table or making sure that their electricity is on, you know, every level of that, it's one lower level where they can be concentrating on a medical care. So if their child has asthma or something like that, we need to make sure that they have your basic necessities. You know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You need to get those basic needs met before you can start worrying about those things.
Right.
Nutrition. You know,
nutrition is huge, which is why the teaching garden that you all are supporting is really wonderful. I mean,
just knowing, I think you pointed out to me last time, it's just like knowing we take for granted because we're, you know, where we grew up, like vegetables that grow, but there's kids in the city that they've never seen vegetables grow.
Well, unfortunately, the food that they can afford isn't nutrition. You know,
yeah. And so learning nutrition,
right,
or having access to it, because you know, nutrition is food. I mean, let's just face it. You know, you can go feed a family for $10 at McDonald's, which is a lot cheaper than going to Whole Foods and getting organic vegetables they just don't have access to.
Yeah, and if you don't have the green space, if you live in an apartment building with a parking lot, and you know, you don't have the place to learn how to grow those things. So we have those things there at the hospital. The garden, the healing garden, and the teaching garden is right outside our primary care office. And our primary care physicians actually have something called the Rainbow Garden. So they do this every summer, and they plant all of the different vegetables so that kids can learn, you know.
Eat the rainbow.
You eat the rainbow for all of your nutrition. The eggplants are purple and the strawberries are red, and it's pretty neat to teach it that way.
And people get to see it hands-on, be able to go to this. And these are all things that, like I said, without philanthropy, there would be no way that people would be able to get access to these things.
Yes.
And so, you know, people that are watching this, you know, Carly, is that understand is the money that you give, this is directly where it goes to help people out like that, you know?
Absolutely.
And realize how expensive it is. You know, I think last time they were talking about the medicine bed, the beds that come in. They cost, how much do they cost now?
Oh, I don't even, thousands of dollars.
$30,000 is what last time. It was about $25,000 to $30,000.
Yeah.
The sides, because it does things like, you put the child on it, gives the kids their weight, gives the kids their heartbeat, gives I don't know if it can tell blood pressure, but it can tell you their temperature, all from just sitting on the bed.
Yeah.
And you kind of sit there and go, wow, that's a lot. But listen, if your kid's sick and you're bringing him to the hospital, you want to make sure he has that bed or she has that bed to be able to do that. And it's really from the community around us that's able to give to make these things happen. And great people like you, Carly, that do this day in and day out to help raise money for them. So.
Well, really, it's because of people like you that I have a job, that I'm able to go out and meet with folks, and you all understand the importance of giving back, which is wonderful. And it's touching how you spread that out through your staff here, but also through all of your clients that you work with, and donating back when you have sales and referrals and things like that. That's pretty amazing that you guys have chosen to do that, and it really does.
I have to
touch my heart.
Oh, sorry. I wanted to shout out Ellie, Nathan's grandma, my grandma as well. So every year now, instead of our birthday gift, she goes, I just want to let you know I'm sending that check into Hasbro for you. So, you know, it does spread, and, you know, just letting people know, because we didn't know when we first went.
Yes.
You know, so it's, I think spreading the word and letting people know about it is probably one of the best things that we can do with this platform that we have.
That's great.
Yeah, I think it's very important to help the community that we're around. We're very blessed to have that so close. It's such a great hospital, a very award-winning hospital that takes great care of the kids there. If anybody's watching this, Carly, how, if they want to make a donation, they want to help out, what could they do?
Great question. Well, they can definitely support through all of your fundraising efforts that you do. They can go to our website, which is HasbroChildren'sHospital.org, and make donations. Again, every dollar counts. So it doesn't have to be a big donation. Small donations are great as well. And we just appreciate anything that anybody can give.
Well, thank you very much for coming on.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I appreciate your time. We know you're very busy, so we appreciate that very much coming out
Thank you
here.
for having me.
Meeting with us, help us talk about this more. And, certainly you guys, if anybody's watching this and they want to help out Hasbro Children's Hospital, it was HasbroChildren'sHospital.org.
Correct.
You can go there. And don't forget, May 13th will be the Radiothon. And that is on what stations again? Light Rock 105.
Light Rock 105, 92 Pro FM, WPRO 630 AM, and Hot 106.
Yes.
And we'll be on at 6 to 9, it sounds like. So.
And to all of you that know us, we will be calling you up, Facebook Living.
Yes.
And,
well, don't tell them that. They'll block our numbers on May 13th.
Maybe they'll forget. But yes, we'll be reaching out to everybody.
Awesome.
So thank you very much for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it very
Thank
much.
you, Nathan
And so I
and
just
Jamie.
want to say real quick, thank you to our viewers. And if you like this, please like it and share it and spread the word. Spread the word for donating. And Nathan and I will be back. So thank you again for joining us.
Thank you, guys.